This alien-like red membrane is the spice, mace. When removed, it reveals another spice, nutmeg. These twins come from a single fruit, but mace is 5 times as expensive and a lot more fragile. If it breaks while being separated from the nutmeg, it'll sell for much less than a whole one. And if the fruit is picked even 1 day late, both spices can easily be ruined by fungus. Pickers also have to deal with aggressive pests. Here in the town of Pollachi, India, farmers harvest a special hybrid variety of the dual spice. That means Pollachi farmers can sell their mace for $50 per kilogram, compared to the country's lead producing city, Kerala, which sells mace for $35. Both are still far more expensive than US mace, selling at $9 per kilo. And while farmers often don't reap the major profits from what they harvest, in Pollachi, they've successfully cut out all middlemen to gain back control of their spices. So what makes their nutmeg and mace so different from the rest? And why are they so expensive? It's early morning, and Kokila is getting ready to harvest the spices. It's monsoon season, and afternoons are usually pouring with rain. So, Kokila needs to harvest quickly. While nutmeg needs good rain to grow, dry mornings like today are perfect for picking. Kokila is one of 4 female pickers who live on the farm and will pick today. During peak season, there can be 10 pickers at one time, but today, it's nearing the end of the season and the yield will be lower. They expect to pick 800 to 1,000 fruits. They use aluminium and bamboo poles to pick. Some trees grow up to 50 feet high, so those can only be reached with the taller bamboo poles. Using these heavy poles while constantly looking up can leave the pickers with neck and shoulder pain. The nutmeg and mace grow together inside a yellow fruit on the Myristica fragrance tree. Once it splits, it's ready to be harvested.
இது வந்து ஓபன் ஆனதுக்கு அப்புறம் இப்படி இருக்கு. இது வந்து இந்த ஃப்ரெஷ்ஷா இருக்கும்போது பறிச்சிரணும்னா
if they leave it for any longer, even one additional day, it will quickly gather mold and be considered second class and about half the price. So, during harvest season, pickers need to check the fruits on the trees every day, especially during the rainy season. Another stressor for Kokila and the other pickers are red ants, also known as fire ants, which nest in these trees.
சின்ன சின்ன எறும்புங்காட்டி அது 1000 2000 3000 இருக்கும் அது மேலே விழுகும் அதுதான் எங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் பயமா இருக்கு புடுங்கருக்கு.
In small trees, the nests can be easier to detect and manage. But when they're higher up, the entire nest can fall on them.
கஷ்டம் இது பொரிக்கிறது மேலேருந்து பொரிக்கும்போது மேலே தலை எல்லாம் விழுந்துரும். சம்டைம்ஸ் வந்து கண்ணிலேயே விழுக ஆரம்பிச்சிரும். எங்கள் அம்மாவுக்கு அந்த மாதிரி வந்து ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் பார்த்து இப்போ தான் க்யூர் ஆகிருக்குது. அப்புறம் வந்து இந்த காய் ஜாதிக்காய் பூவில் வந்து குட்டி குட்டி எறும்பு கருப்பு எறும்பு இருக்கும். அது அதிகமாக இருக்கனால எங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் நாங்கள் தொளிக்கிறப்பெல்லாம் கடிக்க ஆரம்பிக்கும். அதனால நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ணுவோம் தண்ணியில் வந்து நாங்கள் ஃபுல்லாக கழுவி வாஷ் பண்ணதுக்கப்புறம் நாங்கள் எடுப்போம்.
The purpose of washing is not solely for insects. It also helps to extract the mace from the fruit. The women first remove the outer yellow fruit shell. The fruit shells are cleaned and later sold. Fresh shells are edible and can be made into jams or jellies. Dried fruit can be blended with nutmeg powder to be sold as a cheaper alternative. They then separate the good from the rotten ones. The good fruits are placed in water, rinsed and soaked for at least 15 minutes. Once they have soaked long enough, the mace covering will noticeably shrink and become much looser. This is the most time-consuming and delicate stage, separating the mace from the nutmeg without damaging it. They put their fingers in carefully to grasp the nut, then twist slightly and gently, and it snaps out. They must do it slowly.
ஃபஸ்ட் டைம் வந்து அப்பா அம்மா தான் பொரிச்சிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. இப்போ தான் நான் 2 இயர்ஸாக தான் இதில் வந்து பொரிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கேன். ஃபஸ்ட்டு எனக்கு அது தொளிக்கிறப்போலாம் வந்து கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமாக இருக்கும். பூ வந்து உடச்சிருவேன் ஃபாஸ்ட்டாக. இது வந்து மெதுவாக தான் தொளிக்கணும். நான் வந்து ஸ்பீடாக தொளிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சேன்னா பூவெல்லாம் உடைய ஆரம்பிச்சிடும். ஒரு 2 மாதத்துக்கு அப்புறம் தான் வந்து எனக்கு அது கரெக்டாக பூ உடையாமல் நான் தொளிக்க ஆரம்பித்தேன். 2 மாதம் ட்ரைனிங் எடுத்ததுக்கப்புறம் தான் எனக்கு அது கரெக்டாக வந்துச்சு. நான் இந்த மாதிரி தாமரை மொட்டு மாதிரி நல்லா இப்படி அமுத்தி பிடிச்சோம்னா இந்த மாதிரி மொக்கு மாதிரி ஆயிருங்கண்ணா. அது தனியாக அதுக்கப்புறம் நாங்கள் காய வச்சுருவோங்கண்ணா அதையே.
Today, it will take these women about 4 hours to finish plucking the mace and nutmeg, which is about 100 fruits per hour. The ones that have already fallen to the ground on their own do not need the same careful plucking. They're much looser and easier to separate because of the fungus they've developed. These will be half the price of the other fungus-free, fresher nutmegs. Gokila and the others have successfully cleaned all the flowers without breaking any of them. After the nutmeg and mace are separated, both spices need to be dried in the open sun. If the heat is too intense, the nut can crack, so after one day, farmers move it to the shade. Shade drying also preserves the aroma. Some farmers dry the nutmeg and mace in ovens, but Pollachi farmers prefer to dry it in gentler conditions to preserve the structure. All the best mace and nutmeg without any fungi are then placed in separate drums, where they can remain in good condition for over a year. Not all nutmeg and mace are the same. The spices harvested in the West Indies, in places like Grenada, are lighter in colour and have a milder flavour. The more costly East Indian nutmeg and mace have a higher oil content, which gives the spices a stronger aroma and flavour. These spices from Pollachi and its main competitor, the Kerala district, both fall under the East Indian category and can sell for double the price of other varieties.
Our mace is really thick. It is in the shape of a lotus bud. The shape itself is different. Since it is very thick, it doesn't break very quickly.
This is Ranjit. He's the owner of the nutmeg farm here in the Pollachi district. Most of Ranjit's profit comes from the mace. It makes about 5 times as much as the nutmeg. Pollachi's yield is 40% less than the Kerala district, but it has an advantage. The rains are less intense and less continuous, and low risk of fruit spoiling.
So these are the first class ones. So if you cut open, it's free from molds and it has a good aroma and fragrance. The spoiled ones will have a very foul smell. These ones right now they are costing around 480 rupees per kilo. The Pollachi nuts and the nuts that are from Kerala, they are only costing around 320 rupees.
While Pollachi is already an ideal location to grow the spices, their high value is not fully the result of where they are grown, but rather how. Ranjit and other farmers have perfected the fruit to grow larger and thicker, more than double the size of another mace in India. It took Ranjit years to develop a hybrid variety that has given Pollachi its competitive advantage. He also has a nursery where they grow hybrid seedlings.
This has a good one, it succeeded. See? Oh, wait, what happened? Erum, come this way.
Ranjit also uses the farming technique of intercropping, which means 2 crops share the soil to improve water retention in both. The ideal intercrop for Ranjit's nutmeg trees are coconut plants, because they also provide the right amount of shade. But this premium quality was not always recognised or consistent with each farmer in the region. Whenever it came time to sell, Ranjit and the other Pollachi farmers grew frustrated. They were dependent on the bigger cities' expertise and experience to help them sell their product. So, Ranjit and the other farmers came up with a plan. They would all follow similar techniques, separate the best quality, and set the price themselves. 2 years ago, they formed a cooperative and used similar growing methods. Collectively, they now grow about 500 acres of nutmeg and mace. In the global food industry, this is significant because local farmers who make some of the world's most expensive foods typically don't see the profits. Whether it's other harvesters here in India who scour ponds for foxnuts, only to make cents for every kilogram harvested, or small farmers harvesting green cardamom for hours by hand, only to use most of their profits to cover production costs, or workers in Bolivia fueling the global quinoa demand who can't afford to eat their own crop. The success of the Pollachi Cooperative has directly affected the quality of life for farmers and workers here, like Kokila.
அங்கே விட இங்கே தான் பெட்டராக இருக்குது. நான் வந்து மில்லில் ஒர்க் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருந்தேன், ஆப்ரேட்டராக இருந்தேன். அங்கே வந்து எனக்கு மந்த்லி வந்து 10,000 தான் சேல்ரி. எனக்கு அது பத்தலை. அது நாளைக்கு வந்து 250 ரூபா கிடைக்குது. அது கம்பேர் பண்ணும்போது எனக்கு இது கொஞ்சம் பெனிஃபிட்டாக இருக்குது. 10,000லாம் ஃபுட்டுக்கு எல்லாத்துக்கும் போக கம்மியாக தான் இருக்குது. அதனால் எனக்கு இது கொஞ்சம் பரவாயில்ல. இங்கேயே ஃபுட்டு நல்ல ஃபுட்டாக இருக்குது. அதனால் நான் இங்கேயே வந்துட்டேன்.
Recently, they achieved their highest rate for mace, selling to an Australian buyer for 3,200 rupees per kilo, 14% more than the aggregator rate. For the Pollachi farmers, the cooperative made a big difference. They sell to buyers across the globe and recently sold 12 tons of nutmeg and mace to a Dutch company.
Among ourselves, as a community, we had multiplied the best planting material, and now it is literally called the Pollachi variety. But the local traders from Kerala come, they ask for Pollachi Mace. So it is doing very well for us.